Hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today, I think this is going to be a short one today, possibly the shortest one ever. And I'm not trying, I'm not striving. It's not my goal to make it the shortest one ever, but I don't have too much to say about this record. I think the shortest one I've ever done was, it was definitely a Motorhead record. It was either The World Is Yours or Motorizer. I just didn't have much to say. And I'm sure you have better things to do on a Sunday than to sit around and watch me talk. So I will try to not occupy too much of your time. And I will talk today about Cruzados. Isn't this a surprise? I'm going to talk about Cruzados. This album is called After Dark. And I don't have too much to say about this. As I said, I don't have a long or deep history with Cruzados as I do with a lot of these other bands I've talked about in 189, 190 episodes, however many I've done so far. I know not too many people watch these to begin with, and Cruzados, I think, are not going to attract any new viewers. And so, for a little history, for me, I know about Cruzados only through a great band called Tito and Tarantula, as we gringos call them. So there's a guy, his name is Tito Larriva. He's a Mexican-American, and I discovered him or his band Tito and Tarantula through, this movie From Dusk Till Dawn that Quentin Tarantino wrote or directed, or maybe, no, I think Robert Rodriguez directed it. Quentin Tarantino wrote it. It was maybe probably in 98, 99, or probably 99. I was watching that movie. Back when I used to watch television, when you would sit there with the clicker, old people especially called this a clicker. And you used to flip around the channels, and they used to show movies, not streaming, but just on, on broadcast television, or maybe it was cable at that point. And I saw From Dusk Till Dawn, and there was a scene, you all know it, with Salma Hayek, and she's dancing with the snake at this bar called the Titty Twister. And there's an amazing song playing, and it turns out that song is called After Dark by Tito and Tarantula. So I was watching that, and right away, I love this song. I thought, man, that's a really, really great song. Yeah, this must have been 99, because I was on the internet regularly full-time at that point, which I got online as a full-time regular daily thing in January 1999. And this was before Shazam and even before Google. It was a little bit more difficult to find things out. So I guess I just went into Lycos, or whatever search engine was back then, and put in, maybe it was Internet Movie Database, which I was a fan of way back then or something. And I found, this song. I thought, what is that song? I got to hear that song. And I found out that it was a song called After Dark by Tito and Tarantula, and loved it, downloaded it right away. And I ended up buying that record, Tito and Tarantula. That record was called Tarantism. It was on the soundtrack, I guess, but it was originally on an album called Tarantism by Tito and Tarantula. That and some other ones, including this one, Cruzados After Dark, as far as I can remember, and some Cherry Poppin' Daddies albums too, were among the first records I ever got on the internet. Some from eBay. This was in like 1999, 2000. Some from eBay, some from CD Universe. I guess that was it. So I got Tarantism. Then later, Hungry Sally and Other Killer Lullabies, also by Tito and Tarantula. And then I guess it was later that I found out that before Tito and Tarantula, Tito Larriva was in a band called Cruzados. And I also found out that even before Cruzados, he was in a band called The Plugs, which was a punk band from LA. I think I still have never heard The Plugs. I must have at some point heard The Plugs. There's no way I could have gone this long without listening to them. So I loved, and still am, a big fan of Tito and Tarantula, especially Tarantism and Hungry Sally and Other Killer Lullabies. And then I discovered this, and I thought, I love Tito and Tarantula and Tito Larriva, so I got to get this one. And I got this, I think this one was from eBay for sure. I got it on CD, and never got into it, to be honest. I was kind of disappointed at the time. And not much has changed. For as much as I love Tito and Tarantula, this album, it's kind of, depending on how you look at it, it's very different in that I don't like it nearly as much as Tito and Tarantula, or it's very similar, but I don't know, just for whatever reason, I never got into the CD or the album After Dark. So I kind of forgot about it. And then I was at El Chopo, I think it was earlier this year. I think it was in January I was at El Chopo. I saw this for 200 pesos, which is just about the cheapest you'll see any album at El Chopo, because as established in my videos, their prices are ridiculous. Most people that sell records there have no idea what they're doing when they sell records, I think. So so I saw this for 200 pesos, but I think that day I'd already bought a bunch of stuff. I had spent a lot of money. I thought, I don't need to spend 200 pesos more. That was too much for me. And then the next time I was back, a month or 2 months later, it was still there. I thought, okay, I'm going to buy it now. So I bought it. So this is what I have, this version now. And yeah, I listened to it twice today. I guess for the first time in like 23, 24 years, around there. And it's very, very, I'm sure a lot of people would call this like Chicano rock, because Tito is Mexican or Mexican American, but you know, looking, and I don't recognize any names on here. The other guys are Marshall Rohner. Tito's the singer and the guitarist. The other guy is Marshall Rohner, who is the guitarist. Chalo Quintana, that's a Hispanic sounding name, who's the drummer. And Tony Marsico, which sounds, it could be Italian or I don't know. But so, you know, I guess people would call this Chicano just because of the names. There's nothing, I don't even know what Chicano is. They sing in English. This album to me sounds very, very Heartland. I know Americans love to say the Heartland. I don't know if there's another country, but this is not going to be 12 minutes. I'm probably already up to about 8. And this sounds really, really, really like it could be Bruce Springsteen. And a couple of other acts, not American, but Canadian, same thing in this case. It sounds like it could be Bryan Adams, Tom Cochrane, maybe even some Tom Petty. Maybe I even heard a little bit of the Eagles, I think, in this record. So it's just not really my kind of music. I've said this about some other acts too. It's not that it's bad, it's just not really for me. At the time, I thought it was cool to have it, and I really wanted to get into more Tito La Riva or Tito and Tarantula stuff. And yeah, this was not so good, but I bought it anyway, so I kind of forgot about it, so that's why I'm going through it today. Now this is the Mexican version, which I haven't done this too many times, but you know that means it's got the song titles subtitled in Spanish, which I always love, which I'll go through now. So the first song is Small Town Love, Amor de Pueblito, okay. Bed of Lies, Cama de Mentiras, all right. Road of Truth, Camino de la Verdad. These are pretty easy to translate, I guess, so far. Last Ride, Último Viaje, so far so good. Time for Waiting, Tiempo para Esperar. Side 2 is Young and on Fire, Joven y Quemándose. Next is Summer's Come, Summer's Gone, El Verano Llega, El Verano Se Va. Next is I Want Your World to Turn, Quiero Cambiar Tu Mundo. Chains of Freedom is Cadenas de Libertad, duh. And Blue Sofa, subtitled parenthetically, Still a Fool, Triste Sofa. Although I don't know, why is it Triste Sofa? It should be Sofa Azul, no? That's like Sad Sofa. Oh, there's a misprint here. It's supposed to be Still a Fool, and they have Still a Fall, F-O-L-L instead of F-O-O-L. Can you see that? So Blue Sofa, for some reason it's Triste Sofa, which is Sad Sofa instead of Sofa Azul. And then the subtitle, instead of Still a Fool or Still a Fall, is Sigo Siendo un Tonto, which is kind of funny. So that's it. And yeah, I don't looking at the credits on here, there's not too much. I don't recognize any names of the musicians. Produced by, engineered by, or anything like that. So we got the band who I mentioned, produced by Greg Ladani and Waddy Wacho, never heard those names. Rodney Mills and Bill Steinberg / You know what happened for the first time ever? My video got cut off. Man, I ended up talking for like 10 minutes going through the track by track. I did it all. I did, you know, my thing where I go like this and say goodbye. And then I walked around to the back of the camera and the camera was off, because what had happened was, and I mentioned this in the video that nobody heard, I got a text message, and I always turn my Wi-Fi off when I do these videos so I don't get dings and notifications and things like that, which I can't stand at any time, especially in a video. So I turned my Wi-Fi off, but it turns out that I got some text messages, which I never ever get. It's always just crap, you know, from like promotional things. I mean, I never ever text. I use WhatsApp, and that's it. And so I got these notifications like, you know, that I have to update my information on whatever apps and something like that. And that cut off the video, which, yeah, so I was sitting here for like 10 minutes talking, 8 minutes, whatever it was. And my words are gone. They're somewhere in the ether. So I have to restart. Luckily, this wasn't a long one. As I said, this is going to be the shortest one yet. So I got a little bit lucky there. But that was very, very frustrating to see that the camera not been recording. So it turns out that I was talking about the names of the, I was almost at the track by track. No familiar names here: Greg Ladany, Waddy Watchell, Rodney Mills, and Bill Steinberg and Tom Kelly. Tom Kelly, of course, being the manager of the Minnesota Twins. And he led them to the World Series. So good for Tom Kelly that he branched out from baseball and produced records as well. So I'm not sure if I missed something else. I guess I'm just going to go to the track by track and try to recreate what I spoke about, because it was so enthralling that I feel that you need to hear it. So going through the track by track now here, and for me, this is the second time, so maybe I'm not as enthusiastic as I normally would be. So the first track is Small Town Love. This is a total Bruce Springsteen, vocally and lyrically. This really sounds like Bruce Springsteen. If you had never heard Cruzados before, and I played this for you, and you knew Bruce Springsteen, you'd say, oh, this is a Bruce Springsteen song that I've never heard before. What album is this from? And I would say, it's not Bruce Springsteen. What's wrong with you? It's Cruzados. This is Tito Larriva who's singing. It's not Bruce Springsteen. Next is Bed of Lies. This one is also, and you know, this album is quite commercial. I'll talk about that as I go through it quickly, track by track. And it's kind of funny how, you know, to get a break, I guess, in the music world or movies or TV or whatever, you know, these you know, forms of media that people want to break into. Yeah, you have to have talent, and you have to be, you know, to have songs that people like in this case, but you also need, I don't know, some luck, I guess, because I feel like this album, it is quite commercial and very catchy. And if this album had been by Bruce Springsteen or Bryan Adams or Tom Petty, John Cougar, the Eagles, you know, any of those guys, I think you'd maybe still be hearing these songs today on the radio instead of saying, we're Cruzados. Anyway, so number 2, Bed of Lies. This is also kind of a commercial song, but it's a little bit more, I think, how Tito and Tarantula would end up sounding a short time after. Yeah, this song is, this song was pretty good. I don't love any song in this album, but this song's okay. I don't hate them either. It's just kind of that. It's very milk, very vanilla, I think, this record. Next, number 3 is Road of Truth. This one, even more than Small Town Love, this may as well be Bruce Springsteen. It's impossible that it's not Bruce Springsteen. He mentioned something in the song about drinking iced tea. I'm not saying that Bruce Springsteen has any songs about drinking iced tea, but I feel like he should, or maybe he would. Maybe he will in the future. To me, I imagine Bruce Springsteen sitting around drinking iced tea and then writing a song about it. This one really sounds like Bruce Springsteen. This also has a harmonica solo, and I don't know if Bruce Springsteen has harmonica solos in his songs, but this one has a harmonica solo. Next, number 4, Last Ride. Again, it's just an 80s commercial rock song. Not good, not bad. That's just the way it is. Number 5 is Time for Waiting. This one, it's my favorite so far of the first 5 songs, and as it turns out, my favorite from the record. And I mean, I don't love it, but it's okay. I'm not going to go listen to it obsessively, but I do like it. This one was more acoustic, and it sounded again like Bed of Lies, a little bit more identifiable for me as Tito and Tarantula rather than Bruce Springsteen, Tom Petty, Tom Cochran, Bryan Adams, John Cougar. Eagles. Next is Number 6, Young and on Fire. This one was a little bit more up-tempo than the other ones, and again, very commercial and pretty okay. Next is Summer's Come and Summer's Gone. This one, forget about Bruce Springsteen. This is just like the smallest tweak away from being a Bon Jovi song. I would say as much as those Bed of Small Town Love and Road of Truth sound like Bruce Springsteen. This is almost as close, Summer's Come and Summer's Gone, as those songs are to being Bruce Springsteen. This is as close to that as being Bon Jovi. Did I say that correctly? Musically and lyrically, even the song title, Summer's Come, Summer's Gone. Again, that sounds like, I know Bon Jovi doesn't have a song. I don't know if they have any song with summer in the title, but I feel like that could easily be on a Bon Jovi record. And also this one had more guitar, more electric guitar than the other ones, which also made it sound a little bit more Bon Jovi-ish, Bon Jovi-esque, I'm not sure. Next is number 8, I Want Your World to Turn. This was a little bit different just because it is 80s sounding, but not 80s rock, commercial rock. This one to me sounded a little bit of, to me there was a touch of 80s new wave in this one. I don't know, the Cars, Gary Newman, I don't know, something like that. But I think a little bit of new wave, 80s new wave in I Want Your World to Turn. Next is Chains of Freedom, Cadenas de Libertad, if you like to say it in Spanish. And again, it's nothing special. It's okay, and it's just kind of catchy, milky, vanilla 80s rock. And the last track is Blue Sofa, Triste Sofa, or Sofa Azul, parentheses, Still a Fool. This also is a very 80s sounding song. There's some saxophone in the intro before the vocals come in, the lyrics come in, the vocals, I guess. And then instead of a guitar solo, there's a sax solo, and I think the saxophone continues through the rest of the song. Yeah, so that's all. So yeah, this record, I can't imagine that it's going to get too much play in my world. It was kind of cool to have. You know, I found that it was cool. I was at El Chopo. Hey, Cruzados, 200 pesos. That's a good price. It was fine to listen to, but I think I will stick with, and maybe one day I'll talk about Tito and Tarantula, who I think is a much, much, much better band. Or I prefer Tito and Tarantula over Cruzados. And this is Cruzados After Dark.